Imagine a country with its own president, flag, currency, military, and borders. But the world says it doesn't exist. Welcome to the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, a nation recognized by only one country on Earth. How did it come to be? And why is it still invisible on most world maps? Northern Cyprus is a country that exists, but only on paper for most of the world. Officially called the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, it declared independence in 1983. But here's the twist. Only one country on Earth recognizes it: Turkey. No seat at the United Nations, no formal embassies, no recognition from the European Union. On most maps, Northern Cyprus is simply labeled as part of the Republic of Cyprus. Yet, on the ground, Northern Cyprus operates like a fully functioning state. It has its own government, parliament, police force, and even its own flag. It uses the Turkish lira, runs universities, welcomes tourists, and holds elections. But diplomatically, it lives in limbo, seen as a breakaway territory rather than a nation. Geographically, Northern Cyprus covers about 36% of the island's northern region. It's home to around 400,000 people, many of them Turkish Cypriots. Despite its international isolation, it has built a unique identity, shaped by history, politics, and a decades-old division. So how did we get here? Why is this piece of Europe split in two, with one half largely invisible to the world? To understand why Northern Cyprus exists and why it remains unrecognized, we need to step back into the island's complex and often painful past. Cyprus gained independence from British colonial rule in 1960. The newly formed Republic of Cyprus was meant to be a delicate balance of power sharing between its two main communities, Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. Under the constitution, the president would be Greek Cypriot, and the vice president would be Turkish Cypriot, each with veto power. But from the beginning, tensions simmered beneath the surface. The two communities had very different visions for the future. Many Greek Cypriots favored enosis, union with Greece, while Turkish Cypriots feared marginalization and pushed for taksim, or partition of the island. These opposing dreams quickly turned into violence. Between 1963 and 1967, ethnic clashes broke out, killing hundreds and displacing thousands. The fragile government collapsed, and Turkish Cypriots retreated into enclaves, effectively splitting the island along community lines, even before any formal division. Then came the breaking point. In July 1974, a military-backed coup, supported by the Greek junta, overthrew Cyprus's president, Archbishop Makarios, with the goal of annexing the island to Greece. In response, just days later, Turkey launched a full-scale military intervention, citing its role as a guarantor power under the 1960 treaty. Turkish troops landed in the north and quickly took control of about 36% of the island. Thousands of Greek Cypriots fled south, while Turkish Cypriots in the south moved north. What followed was one of the most significant population displacements in modern European history. By the end of that year, Cyprus was effectively divided in two, with a ceasefire line drawn across the middle. In 1983, the Turkish-controlled north declared itself the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, a move condemned by the United Nations and rejected by every country except Turkey. To this day, a UN-monitored buffer zone known as the Green Line runs across the island, separating the internationally recognized Republic of Cyprus in the south from the breakaway north. In the heart of it all lies Nicosia, the island's capital, and the last divided capital city in Europe. Barbed wire, checkpoints, and abandoned buildings serve as stark reminders of a conflict that remains unresolved. Efforts to reunify the island have come and gone, with peace plans often faltering over issues like property rights, security, and political power. Nearly 50 years after the invasion, Cyprus remains divided, not just by a border, but by memory, mistrust, and competing national identities. So, what is life like in Northern Cyprus today? Step into Northern Cyprus today, and you'll find a land full of contrasts. A place where Mediterranean charm meets political uncertainty. On the surface, it looks like a regular country. People go to school, vote in elections, shop in open-air markets, and relax on golden beaches. But behind the scenes, it operates in the shadows of international isolation. The government of Northern Cyprus is officially democratic, with a president, parliament, and regular elections. But in practice, it's deeply dependent on Turkey for economic, military, and even political support. Many Turkish Cypriots see Turkey as both a lifeline and a dominating influence, with Ankara heavily involved in the region's internal affairs. The currency here is the Turkish lira, which ties Northern Cyprus directly to Turkey's economic fortunes, including its inflation and instability. Despite this, the North has developed its own parallel systems. Universities attract thousands of foreign students, and the tourism industry, especially from Turkey, is thriving. Visitors come to enjoy ancient castles, quiet beaches, and the more laid-back pace of life compared to the bustling south. Drive through Northern Cyprus, and you'll see lively street markets, cafes with nargile hookah, modern shopping centers, and a skyline dotted with mosques and minarets. The architecture reflects a mix of Ottoman heritage and post-conflict construction. Many towns and villages still carry the scars of the 1974 division, but life has steadily moved on. Still, international isolation casts a long shadow. Flights to Northern Cyprus must go through Turkey. No direct flights are allowed from the EU or most other countries. Diplomatic embassies? None, except Turkey's. International trade and investment are severely limited due to embargoes. Even the mail system operates through Turkey. These barriers make it difficult for Northern Cyprus to fully participate in global systems, from sports events to education exchanges. Despite this, many Turkish Cypriots take pride in their identity. They've built a functioning society under challenging circumstances, blending tradition with resilience. But beneath that resilience is a quiet frustration, with being cut off from the world, with the stalled reunification talks, and with being seen as second-class citizens in their own homeland. Life in Northern Cyprus today is about navigating paradoxes, freedom within limits, recognition from within, but rejection from without, and a daily life that looks normal, but exists in a state that officially doesn't. Now, let's have a look at global politics and recognition. On the world stage, Northern Cyprus is a ghost state. It exists, but nearly no one acknowledges it. Since declaring independence in 1983, only Turkey has recognized it as a sovereign nation. No other country, not even Azerbaijan or Pakistan, has followed suit. The United Nations considers the North to be part of the Republic of Cyprus, illegally occupied by Turkish forces. The European Union shares the same stance, and since Cyprus joined the EU in 2004, the entire island is technically EU territory. But here's the catch: EU law is suspended in the north, meaning the region sits in a legal gray zone. If you're an EU citizen, you can technically cross into Northern Cyprus through designated checkpoints. But investing in property, opening a business, or navigating legal issues there can be a minefield. In many cases, buying property in the north risks legal battles, especially if the land was owned by Greek Cypriots before 1974. Over the years, there have been several attempts at reunification, the most notable being the Annan Plan in 2004, a UN-backed proposal that would have created a bizonal federation. Interestingly, Turkish Cypriots voted in favor of the plan in a referendum, while Greek Cypriots overwhelmingly rejected it. The failure of the plan deepened the divide and reinforced the status quo. Two communities, two governments, one internationally recognized state. Turkey's role is central to Northern Cyprus's existence. It stations thousands of troops there, provides extensive financial aid, and has enormous sway over its politics. Some Turkish Cypriots feel that their voice is often drowned out by Ankara's influence, while others see Turkey as the only reason they've survived this long. Global politics continues to trap Northern Cyprus in diplomatic limbo. For decades, the island has been a pawn in broader regional tensions, not just between Greece and Turkey, but between East and West, between nationalism and diplomacy. Recognition remains the holy grail for the North, but without a breakthrough in peace talks, it's unlikely to happen anytime soon. So, for now, Northern Cyprus remains a state that functions but isn't recognized, a country in all but name, caught in one of the world's most stubborn political deadlocks. Let's end this journey with what makes Northern Cyprus unique. As we've seen, Northern Cyprus is one of the world's most fascinating contradictions, a country that exists in practice but not in law. With its own flag, government, universities, and police, it functions like any independent nation. And yet, for the rest of the world, it's invisible, a political phantom caught in legal limbo. But beyond the headlines and border disputes, Northern Cyprus is a place of striking beauty and deep complexity. Travelers who make the journey, usually through Turkey, discover a land rich with turquoise beaches, ancient castles, and timeless villages. From the fairy tale walls of Kyrenia Castle to the mountaintop ruins of St. Hilarion, Northern Cyprus offers a raw, unpolished charm that many Mediterranean destinations have lost. It's affordable, uncrowded, and authentic, precisely because it remains off the international tourism radar. What truly sets it apart, though, is its complex identity. Turkish Cypriots are not simply Turkish, they are Cypriots, with their own dialect, cuisine, traditions, and a deep-rooted sense of belonging to the island. Yet, politically and economically, they are tied to Turkey. This creates a tension at the heart of Northern Cyprus, a constant push and pull between cultural pride and political dependence, between local identity and foreign influence. Northern Cyprus is also a textbook case of what political scientists call a frozen conflict, a territorial dispute left unresolved for decades, where open war has stopped, but peace never quite arrives. The border, known as the Green Line, runs through the capital, Nicosia, splitting it in two like a scar across the city. It's the last divided capital in Europe, and a living reminder that post-colonial borders don't always settle quietly. This makes Northern Cyprus more than just a geopolitical oddity. It's a living museum of modern history, a place where the Cold War, decolonization, ethnic nationalism, and global diplomacy all collide. It's both a peaceful Mediterranean haven and a symbol of unresolved conflict. In the end, what makes Northern Cyprus unique isn't just its beaches or castles. It's the way it exists in between worlds, real yet unrecognized, vibrant yet isolated, hopeful yet stuck in a past that the world has yet to untangle. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Should the world recognize Northern Cyprus? More untold stories await in our next video.